Good afternoon. I'm John Falchicchio, Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, coming to you live today from Kingman Island in the middle of the Anacostia River. And we're here today because we're talking to the Democ cluster. So with me is Deputy Mayor Lucinda Babers.
Hello, everyone.
Deputy Mayor for Operations and Infrastructure. And before we get started talking about the Fair Shop budget, tell us what Democ is. And I know you're going to say it's the best cluster, but what else can you tell us about Democ?
Thank you so much, John. So other than Democ being the absolutely best cluster in the Wilson Building, it stands for Deputy Mayor for Operations and Infrastructure. And we have 7 core agencies. We have the key operational agencies in the government. And we also have the agencies that make sure you can build. We have transportation. We have energy and the environment, for hire vehicles. We have the Consumer and Regulatory Affairs, the Motor Vehicles Agency, Insurance, Securities, and Banking, and probably one more that I'm forgetting at the moment. But that's okay. So, John, you probably want to know why we're here.
I do. We're out on location in Kingman Island, like I said, in the middle of the Anacostia River, and Mayor Bowser's made some recent investments in Kingman Island.
Absolutely. So if you have not been to Kingman Island and Heritage Island, which we're actually on Heritage Island, they're right next to each other. You know, I would be remiss if I did not kick this over to our expert, and that's Director Tommy Wells with Energy and Environment.
Well, thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you to everyone that's joining us. We are here on beautiful Kingman Island and Heritage Islands, 47 acres of great wildlife, where we've got over 75 species of fish that swim by. We've got about 275 species of birds that migrate through here. This is just a treasure, and what a wonderful gift, and how visionary of our mayor to make this the first special conservation area in the District of Columbia. This belongs to the people of the District of Columbia. We want children, families. We want this to come out here, experience nature, and have a good time on Kingman Heritage Island. But what a great, great investment for our city.
So, Director Wells, for a lot of folks, I keep saying we're in the middle of the Anacostia River. How do people access these two islands?
Well, there's 2 ways to get here. One is from the fields over by RFK. Then the other way is from Benning Road. Those are 2 points of access. Living Classrooms helps keep the gates open early in the morning and late in the evening when they shut them. So this is really for all of our residents, and bring your friends, family members, visitors to Kingman Island, Heritage Island, to get out on the water. Under the mayor's leadership, this river is getting cleaner every day.
Now, Director Wells, we were out here with Mayor Bowser on Earth Day, and we were talking about, I think, the boats that are right behind you.
Absolutely. The mayor launched what we call the Anacostia Green Boats Program. Go online at DMPED.dc.gov and look at the Green Boats Program, where you can reserve a boat, come out for free, just be a D.C. resident, paddle around, but also all we ask you to do is we give you some trash pickers. Pick some trash off the riverbanks while you're out here, and then we'll catalog it, and we'll be able to determine what's the main amount of trash that we have in our river. And so it's a free way to get out on the water, do good, and experience this amazing natural asset that we have right here in D.C.
All right, Deputy Mayor, so let's get into the Fair Shop budget. What are you most excited about in the Democ cluster? And then I know we've got 4 of your directors here to talk about what they're most excited about as well.
We absolutely do, John. And I'm excited, first of all, that the mayor has dedicated $870 million to the various agencies in the Democ cluster. And that is a significant amount of money for us to get things done. Operational things, we can also reach out. We have some stimulus funds where we're going to really promote some things. So I'm actually going to let the directors themselves talk about their specific agency, but I would be remiss if I did not mention some of the agencies that don't happen to be here. So we have, for our Department of Public Works, we have about $6.5 million that the mayor is dedicating to create 110 jobs for individuals in communities that may be being hurt by gun violence. So we believe that those jobs will absolutely change people's lives. When you get to the capital money, I want to stick with DPW. We also have, both in FY22 and FY23, $100 million to replace the Benning Road transfer station. That station needs to be replaced. It's needed to be replaced for a long time. So we're excited about that. And then our Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking. Not many of you all in the listening public have even heard of this agency. Very critical agency. And what you may not be aware of is that they have a program called Opportunity Accounts. And that is where you can basically set up a savings account, and you can put money into that account, and then DSB will match those funds. So the mayor has also put an additional over $1 million in for them to work throughout the next 3.5 years to expand that program. So we're super excited about that. And we want to get the information out to everybody that is, of course, available. Now, there are requirements, so you can go to their website, Disb.dc.gov. And then when it comes to the Department of Motor Vehicles, they are actually working on a new licensing registration system. And in the capital budget, the mayor is proposing an additional $12 million for them to finish that system. And when they finish that system, once again, we will have more online services available than almost any jurisdiction in the country. And then, of course, those services are also available through their app and by mail. So we're super excited about those agencies also.
And so important for people to skip the trip?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I used to work at DMV. I didn't like going there any more than you all do. So I would encourage you all to, go online or do your transaction by mail.
Great. And do you want to jump into any other agencies that you want to mention, or do you want to jump into the ones that are with us here?
Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about the agencies now that are here, because they've got some good stuff.
They've got a lot of good stuff. And Everett Lott is up first, I think, with Ddot. So, Everett, you want to kick us off? Because really, everybody else on the panel is going to have envy for what Ddot has. So why don't you get us started off, and then we'll fill in the rest of the details.
Well, great. Well, Deputy Mayor Falchecchio and Deputy Mayor Babers, I want to thank y'all for hosting today. I'm really excited about our budget. We have really had historic investments that the mayor has made. Over $351 million in our streetscapes and our trails. And I believe actually all this can be found on page 4, slide 4 for those in the viewing audience. But over $351 million in our streetscapes and our trails that really will help to connect the district. Over 17 additional new miles of trails and protected bike lanes, which we're really excited about. Also, one of the other historic investments is about $64 million that we're putting in our bus speeds and bus priority program, which we're really excited about as well. Many people may know about K Street Transit. That will allow us to have both a protected bike lane as well as a car-free lane along K Street, which will really allow for our users of our public transit system to be able to move and get from one place to the next a lot faster. So we're really excited about these investments. We're also looking at how we can improve safety along our corridors throughout the district. And so one of the things that you'll find is that the mayor has invested historic investments in our AT, which stands for our Automated Traffic Enforcement Program, in that particular program to allow for us to be able to help to change driver behavior and really get people to slow down on our roadways. So you'll find that our budget has things for vehicular traffic, for pedestrians, for cyclists, for those who walk, and we're really excited that we're going to be able to have options for everybody out there.
And tell us about, the bus prioritization. How does that help the average resident as they think about kind of going back to the office, going back to work, either as they have been throughout the pandemic or going back to from telework status?
Well, a couple things. One, what we're really trying to encourage our folks here in D.C., residents and visitors alike, is to get out of single occupancy vehicles. And so our bus priority program really encourages that because it's more reliable, it's safer, and it's actually really economical. So our bus priority program really allows for our buses to travel more freely throughout the district. You may find on M Street Southeast that we have a bus priority program, or a car-free lane, also on Pennsylvania Avenue Southeast. And we're actually in the process right now of constructing one on 16th Street. And so, again, it will allow people to be able to move a lot more efficiently, and hopefully that will encourage people to get out of their single occupancy vehicles.
Right. And so, Everett, those bus lanes, those are for both WMATA and our circulator buses, correct?
It is. It's both for our WMATA buses and also circulator bus, which we are responsible for at Ddot. And we're excited. It's clean, it's accessible, we have free Wi-Fi, and we really are encouraging people to jump on our circulator bus and WMATA.
And that circulator bus costs how much?
One of the other historic investments the mayor made is that the circulator bus is free. She put about $1.4 million for the circulator. So it is free to all district residents and visitors.
I'm not a lawyer, but if we were in court, that would probably be a leading question. But that's fine. We'll have lots of leading questions today because that free circulator has actually been something that we've had to debate with our partners on the council over the years. So we hope this year, coming out of the pandemic, we see it survive. So thank you, Deputy Mayor, for highlighting that. And then I know this is hard to do, but since you're up first and you've got all this funding made available, which one is your favorite? Which one are you most excited about in the budget?
You know, probably the one that excites me the most is our capital bike share. Mm-hmm. The mayor has invested resources to allow for about 80 new capital bike share stations throughout the district, which will allow for residents to essentially walk out of their home and be able to get to a capital bike share within about a quarter mile of their home, and that's throughout the district. In addition, the mayor's invested 3,500 new electric bikes that we're going to be adding to our bike fleet. And those electric bikes are powerful. I rode one with the mayor about a month ago, and it's fantastic. And then the other piece that people may not really be aware of is that we're adding adaptive services, about 20 bikes for folks that may have some mobility challenges. And so we're trying that out this year in the new budget. And so I think that's a great program that will encourage folks that may not have been able to use a bike before to be able to have another type of alternative mode of transportation.
And for our colleagues in district government, Capital Bike Share, how much is that membership?
That sounds like another lead-in question. but for our colleagues in district government, Capital Bike Share program is free for all of our D.C. government colleagues.
And I was actually coming over here from the Wilson building. Thankfully, Support Services, I was running late, was able to do it. And I was like, I wonder if there's a Capital Bike Share near the islands. And
sure enough.
Let's bring in Tommy Wells. Tommy?
Absolutely. And let me say that how the government works together, I'm so excited about the investments that Ddot has made. Not just Capital Bike Share coming here, but also we've got two of the nicest hiking, biking trails on both sides of these islands along the Anacostia River in the nation. They are the envy of cities to be able to get out in nature and on these great trails. But then also, Ddot helps fund the trail maintenance on these islands. So the way we work together is a great way to certainly make the best investments and be sure they're cared for, but also create great assets and amenities for our residents.
Well, tell us about what the Fair Shot budget means to DOE, as we say.
Right, and I think for the listening public, you're going to be on slide 5, I believe.
Okay, slide 5. Well, the mayor is making an unprecedented investment in both energy efficiency, especially for our low-income residents, and then also for deploying solar across the city. Over 4,000 households, low-income households, will receive benefits to cut their power bills in half. Solar could be generated somewhere else in the city, but the benefits go to residents that need that help. And so the mayor's doubling down on Solar for All, which is just, there's no other city that's doing what we're doing with Solar for All, and that's a great investment. Then the other unprecedented investment is people see these green infrastructure all around the roads that you help put in at Ddot and that others are a part of, where there are bioswales to catch stormwater. We have not made the investments we've needed over the years to really maintain them to the level that they should be. The mayor's making unprecedented investment in greening the green infrastructure in the city and making them beautiful, putting in wildflowers, putting in meadows, being sure that they operate like they're supposed to operate. And we'll get into it, I think, in the next round, but it's creating jobs. It is a great economic investment. The mayor has always said what's good for the environment is good for the economy. And the green infrastructure investment, again, it's $8 million a year, and it's a fantastic investment for the city.
So I'm going to go a little bit out of order here because David Doe is a big proponent of solar himself, just personally. You've got them on your home.
Yep.
And what does that mean for you and your household in terms of energy use and what you get from having that on your house?
Yeah, definitely. Solar is one of the most amazing things I've ever used for my own house and for my own electric vehicle. What it does is it provides a cheap way to live. My electric bill is no more than $26 per month. And then you get these SREC credits. So it's a credit that is generated every 2 months. That's worth about $400. That big electric companies have to buy to offset some of their, carbon that they use to produce their electric. And so it's pretty exciting.
And Tommy, you've talked about this before. People can actually make money by putting solar on their homes, and you also have the most generous credits in the region.
Yeah, the solar renewable energy credits in Maryland, John, are around $35 a credit. In D.C., it's $435 a credit. And so if you have availability on your roof, on your church roof, on any building that has, especially if it's south-facing roof, but it doesn't have to be, if you don't put solar on it, you're just saying we don't want all that money.
And Tommy, I believe apartments and condos can also take advantage, right?
Any building with a roof. You're exactly right, Deputy Mayor. If you're a condo building, an apartment building, and a garage, carports, parking lots with, we put in canopies along carports. We're one of the best cities in America for deploying solar.
Right. So, Tommy, now that we have lost our watching audience, because they're trying to figure out how to take advantage of this solar opportunity, where can they go to find out more information?
At DOEE.dc.gov, you can find out about just about anything that's going on good in this city. DOEE.dc.gov.
I like that line. Some of our colleagues in government watching may kind of disagree with that a little bit. But what is, for our viewing audience, we have probably a lot of property owners, housing providers, BEPS. They know it's coming. What is it, and how does this budget help them?
So Washington, D.C. was the first to address the fact that 75% of the greenhouse gases caused by our city come from buildings, the built environment. And so we addressed that with the Building Energy Performance Standards. And we're the first city in the country to pass it. New York City came right after us, and now Montgomery County is trying to one-up us. So we're leading the nation, and we're matching the challenge from President Biden to cut greenhouse gases to stop and slow down global warming. But in D.C., especially with the mayor's leadership, John, as you know, we're very concerned about affordable housing. And so we have doubled our investment, really created unprecedented investment, to be sure that multifamily buildings can have the same quality of living with low power bills as everyone else, with the investment to be sure we can meet the Building Energy Performance Standards. Really proud of that because it really puts our values where our residents are.
And I think it's about $162 million across the plan to help buildings come up to the Building Energy Performance Standard, right?
That's exactly right. It's just like Energy Star. When you buy a microwave or a refrigerator, if they put Energy Star on there, it says that it's saving you power because you met the Energy Star standard. That's what we're doing with our buildings. And so with this unprecedented investment of really hundreds of millions of dollars altogether, is that we will get our buildings closer to net zero for the whole cycles of Energy Star performance for years to come. We will have some of the highest performance buildings for our low-income residents, which adds to quality of life, and it makes more funding available for other things that we need.
So, Tommy, what about weatherization? I know that we have some additional funding for that.
That's another area where not only do we have additional funding, but we have additional job opportunities. We are retrofitting our buildings all across the city, whether it be new windows, new insulation, all the things that make a high-performing building. And these are major investments. And we've been doing this, but we are doubling down. And again, it's job opportunities. And so nothing like having lower power bills, like what would you say, David? $26? $26 a month, and a very high standard or quality of life inside your place there, and you're helping to also energize your car. We should be able to do that all across our city.
So your car gas bill is how much?
I don't know, but my car bill for charging is probably zero.
Zero, because of your solar. So, Tommy, I asked Everett, of all the investments in the Fair Shot budget in your agency, which one is your favorite?
My favorite is the investment in green infrastructure, because that is an entry-level type job. We will be able to take our returning citizens, get them very good jobs, and help them learn the skills around managing and maintaining green infrastructure, where they can either from there become their own landscaping company that contract with us for years to come. It's an entryway into what we call the green pathways to the middle class. And I'm really excited about that. We will be hiring and training a lot of folks. Again, disconnected youth, or we have a partnership with Anacostia High School that I'm really excited about to get young people excited about the environment. The green infrastructure maintenance is a great entryway to become an employee at DOEE.
And I know the mayor likes it because it beautifies our neighborhoods as well.
Well, let me say, the mayor has very little tolerance for litter and trash. I get pictures when these green infrastructures have not been cleaned. And the mayor has made it very, very high priority that we have a beautiful city. And so this is, I think this really helps with all the mayor's priorities. It gets people great jobs. It brings them into a pathway to where they can create their own companies. And also, it beautifies our city.
All right. Deputy Mayor, we've got 2 more directors. Who should go next?
So actually, David has some exciting things to talk about also in the areas of transportation.
Okay.
So, David, you want to share with the watching public?
Yep, definitely. And on page 4 of our slides, we have a very transformative budget for the for-hire industry. There are amazing investments. The biggest one is our new school transit program, Safe Passages, for Wards 7 and 8 students. It is the first time ever where we are going to be transporting kids to and from their schools to 3 different locations east of the river. And so we're super excited, and it's a $6.1 million investment that the mayor has made in the next fiscal year for our students. In addition, we also have a DC Neighborhood Connect program, which is an expansion of microtransit in Wards 1, 4, and 5, and then also Wards 8, and a new zone in Union Market, Ivy City, and Fort Lincoln. And so those are 2 of the big investments. We also have an amazing investment in page 7, and this is for our taxi drivers. There's a $1.8 million fee waiver for our drivers, and basically our face IDs are waived, our one-stop forms. So anything it takes to register as a driver is now free for our drivers. And so that's exciting to get them back to work, get them back into on the road so that they can transport our residents, our hospitality workers. And then also we have a $150,000 investment towards making sure that we reduce gun violence in all 8 wards.
So, David, that's some incredible items there. What has the pandemic done to the for-hire community?
Yeah, it has disproportionately affected the for-hire industry. Taxi trips are down 90%, and then for-hire like Uber and Lyft are down 70%. And so it's been a big impact, and then it's also been a big impact on our budget.
And so how do we actually get the right mix of getting drivers back as demand starts to come back? How do we address that with the Fair Shop budget?
Yeah, definitely. Again, we're trying to diversify some of the jobs for our residents and our drivers. And so they'll be driving microtransit vans, microbuses for students, but also that our fee waivers try to get them back on the road. And there's a less of a barrier for them to just get their car, rent a car, and then get on the road to serve DC residents.
And you mentioned hospitality workers. I know it's something in DMPED, and we've got folks watching who are in the hospitality field. So what is the right remedy to make sure that there's transportation when businesses close late at night?
Yeah, definitely. And this is something that we've been working on for a while. And so we're trying to provide incentives. We're trying to provide services late night. For example, our Neighborhood Connect program allows microtransit buses across wards 1, 4, and 5 to get those hospitality workers to and from metro stations, to and from bus stations, and to and from home.
Okay. And Deputy Mayor?
John, I would just like to mention that WMATA is under Democ in terms of oversight. We don't actually manage WMATA, but we have oversight. And so one of the things that we are working with them to do is to monitor the ridership. The ridership, unfortunately, is still down. But guess what, people? Not only is D.C. government open and D.C. open, WMATA's open. they're open, they're safe, they're doing frequent cleanings. You still have to wear your mask. They're still running more trains than necessary to make sure that you can socially distance and be spaced out. So I do encourage everyone to go back to WMATA. I'm riding WMATA back to work, and we have to see that increased ridership that lets us know that they can open later and people will ride. They can add more train frequency and people will ride. So we need everybody to just go back to Metro and to Metro Bus.
Absolutely. All right. I think we're already, or actually, David Doe, we didn't ask you, what's your favorite item in the Fair Shop budget?
Definitely. You know, my favorite item of the budget is getting kids to and from their school in Wards 7 and 8. This is something that is going to be very transformative. It expands transportation options, enhances transportation options, and we're very excited. This is a new program that's starting from the ground up, and I'm learning so much, and my team is really excited to really invest into our residents, and I'm excited too.
And so how will that work too for folks who are watching, who want to know, like, all right, I live in Ward 7 and 8, I have a student that goes to school. Is that in Ward 7 and 8? Is it across all 8 wards? How do folks access this? I know it's a brand new idea. Yeah. So what do we know of it so far?
Definitely. So we're working with 23 different schools that are going to be serviced by this new program. And they are in 4 safe passage zones. And residents can go to safepassage.dc.gov to look at the safe passage zones. But basically, each of the 23 schools will get a microbus, and it will go to 3 different locations within that zone for that school. And so it'll take them to and from 3 different locations and their school.
Okay, fantastic. Deputy Mayor, on to the next one.
Absolutely. And so now we know that there are a lot of residents, there are a lot of businesses who are also watching. And so they're wondering, what is Department of Consumer and Regulatory Affairs getting from this budget? Ernest?
Hi. It looks like. I'm so excited about our budget. I don't know where to begin, because if you look at the amount, it is $90.6 million, which is 23% increase from the previous year. And it really focuses on the areas that have been hurting the most during the pandemic. We know our small business community, entrepreneurs, have been hurting real bad. So if you look at the mayor's proposed budget, we are getting targeted investments to support them. Specifically, we are getting $12.8 million to fast-track permits, license, inspections for everybody. Now, if you're trying to start a business and you're trying to open your store and you need an inspection tomorrow, now we'll have the capacity to accommodate you. If you're trying to start up like a consulting business from your garage because you've been cooped up at home for a long time, we have something for you as well. So this investment in fast tracking benefits every customer that comes to DCRA. So that's something that we are really excited about. We are also excited about the fee reductions. I mean, I call it like the $99 program, because the mayor laser focused on providing relief that people will get the benefits right away. For one thing, if you're trying to do a short-term rental, people call it like Airbnb, your fee will be $99 instead of northwards of $300. That is a big reduction. If you're trying to start a small business that requires a general business license, your fee will be $99 again. If you want to be like a barber who wants to sell some hair products, instead of paying up to like $1,000, your fee will be $99 again. So the $99 program is really a big deal, and I'm super excited about that as well.
And I think I ran into Mila from the Health Exchange, and she was saying about people who are behind on their premiums for their health insurance, and the mayor's got an investment, $15 million, to wipe out all those arrearages. But I think when people hear the $99 registration, it sounds a little gimmicky, but you just mentioned it's hundreds of dollars of savings for entrepreneurs. What does that mean for them at a time like this, where we're coming out of the pandemic?
A number of different things. One, immediate relief, less anxiety, and real savings. If you are setting up a company and you have to pay hundreds of dollars in corporate registration fees, that actually prevents some people from pursuing their dream. With the mayor's proposed budget, it will be $99. And for those who owe fees from past non-compliance issues related to filing their corporate reports, they will also get into an amnesty program. So if you've been in business before or you're thinking about getting into business and fees in general have been the obstacle, there's a solution right there for you in our fiscal year 22 budget.
Now, Ernest, tell us a little more about this amnesty program, because, you know, I know that you're aware that the Department of Motor Vehicles, in conjunction with Democ, we're currently doing a ticket amnesty program where any tickets that have been issued since September 30th, 2021, that hasn't even arrived yet. You only have to pay the original face value of that ticket, so penalties are waived. So is this amnesty program that you're referencing going to be similar to that? What exactly are we looking at?
Yes, it will be similar. Typically, if you don't file your biannual report, it comes with a late fee and penalty for every year that you don't do it. So you would have business owners who've accumulated $3,000 in fees and fines, $2,000, $1,000, and it's just owners. So the amnesty program requires them to file the most current biennial report, and we will forgive all the late fees and penalties. So we want to help businesses get into compliance so that they can be on a better pathway to expanding, helping hire residents, and supporting and fuel our recovery.
Well, and that's what the Fair Shot is all about, is about everybody getting back to where we were before the pandemic and then beyond. So we've talked about it in DMPED as relief, recovery, and then growth. And we're starting to get into that recovery phase, but we need folks to be able to kind of come clean, right? So if you weren't able to pay your health premiums, we've got a cure for that with the subsidy to the health link of $15 million. This program allows folks to get caught up on something that sneaks up on them. I think a lot of people kind of forget, I have to do my filing again. But at DMPED, the reason why I'm kind of belaboring this is when people go for a grant, whether it's to us or the federal government, that's an essential document that you need in order to get that grant or that loan. And so to be ready to actually get the assistance that's out there, you need to really get all of this in order. So we'll keep working with you on that, too, to promote it. But we need the council to pass all of these provisions.
Absolutely. So, John, everything that we have talked about so far today is part of the mayor's proposed budget. The mayor's budget will not become final until the council, of course, approves it and passes it. So, anybody who's watching us, when you hear all the great things that are in this budget, you should, after you finish shouting and jumping, you should get on your email, you should call the council members and let them know that you support this budget, because it is a great budget.
Absolutely. So, Tommy Wells, you've been through a few budgets. And has the council ever passed a budget by unanimous consent?
No, they haven't. But I will say that there's so much in this budget that the residents, that they will benefit from, that they want, from affordable housing to new jobs to investment in great infrastructure, that I believe that the residents of the District of Columbia will support the mayor's budget and tell their council members, this is important, this gets it. And I do have heard from some of the council members say, this is a very smart budget from the mayor.
Yep. So thinking outside of your agency and within the cluster, what gets you excited about this budget, and what do you think people should know about that maybe one of the agencies that's not here, how do we represent them as well?
Anyone?
Well, let me just say this real quick. I knew it was in the transportation budget, but I didn't know what was in my other colleagues' budgets. So I'm really excited. Just hearing some of these investments now just really got me really excited to where I want to go back and start calling, because I just didn't know how good of a program and how good of a budget that each of my counterparts have. And so I think this is going to be fantastic for residents, for the district residents, and I'm really excited about it. So I think we need to congratulate the mayor for putting on such a great budget that I think is going to benefit everybody here in the district.
Absolutely, Everett. And as you were saying that, I just had visions of one of the best times, compliments of Ddot and many supporting agencies. But that was a couple of years ago when we had that open streets down Georgia Avenue. I walked the entire thing twice, and I was able to pop into so many businesses that I had never heard about or I had never been to. And it was incredible, and I still am able now to refer family and friends to places that are on Georgia Avenue, because normally when I'm driving down Georgia Avenue, I, of course, am doing what everyone else is doing, and I'm paying attention to the roadway. So I can't see the businesses. But I understand that we have some funds, some additional funds for another open street.
We do, not just another open street, but an open street in each ward. And so this budget invests about $9.1 million for us to do a major open street like we did on Georgia Avenue along 7th Street, but also allow us to do one on 18th Street, also allow us to do one in each ward. And so we're excited about that. I've heard from a lot of different residents and ANC commissioners that are extremely excited about that, but it will allow us to essentially reclaim our public spaces.
I think Deputy Mayor just came up with a new slogan for open streets that DMPED will use, that open streets, open wallets, right? Because you gets folks into stores that they haven't been to, and I think that's going to be so important as we get through this. So I think, Ernest, I was going to ask, too, what do you see in terms of businesses coming to DCRA now that we have, we're at the point in the response that 70% of our adults in the District of Columbia have gotten at least one dose. That's really a big milestone for us. What do you see at DCRA in terms of people coming to apply for permits? Is that starting to pick up, and how are we handling the sort of the caseload?
There's one thing that feels like a burden, but for us, it's really like an exciting opportunity, and that is when we are seeing applications. We are seeing people who have revoked corporate status trying to resolve the issue. We are seeing people applying for building permits, not necessarily for their home renovation projects, but for commercial renovation projects. You have people who are filing certificate of occupancy applications because they've worked something out with their landlord and they are ready to come back and hire employees. You have people who are just calling, just trying to understand what programs we have available. So when you think of the business landscape, yes, higher vaccination rates is prompting more confidence in the economy. It is encouraging more spending. It is encouraging more hiring. It is encouraging more applications that we are seeing. And we are really looking forward to the opportunity to help people. And that's something that my staff and I are all excited about.
And I'm going to ask David the same question about that. But before I do, Ernest, before you give up that mic, I know that Ddot, DCRA, we've all innovated together on Streeteries. So I know that we have, I think, 844 Streeteries now. Fred Musali, another agency in the Democ cluster, is very proud of the 844 Streeteries across all 8 wards. So what's kind of that next innovation? I know the Mayor's Office of Nightlife and Culture, as well as DMPED, have been talking to DCRA about how we utilize retail space. How can folks quickly sort of realize some vitality in that retail space?
Yes, that's a great point you brought up, and I'm glad you brought it up, because right now we basically have a program to encourage pop-ups. So if you want to experiment at a retail space, you have an idea, it doesn't have to be totally baked. From the regulatory process, we would have a way to give you faster licensing and permitting. We'll have a way to ensure that you meet basic safety requirements. We've partnered with Fire, Ddot to just provide a holistic support for entrepreneurs. So whether it's taking a vacant building and creating an art installation, or taking a vacant lot and creating something sand lots, there are so many opportunities that we would depend on entrepreneurs and businesses for. But our role will be to help you get open, and that's our single focus.
Right. And Ernest, let me just piggyback on that. I think that people don't understand just how critical Democ agencies are to people who want to start a business or to maintain a business. And so one of our agencies, the Department of Insurance, Securities, and Banking, they actually are receiving half of $56 million in this budget. The other half is going to your cluster, DMPED, and it's basically a small business program. that people can take advantage of it. And people probably don't know that. They probably think that only the Department of Small and Local Businesses is the only place they can go to. But I want to encourage the watching public. There are a lot of funds for people who want to either expand their business, start a business, save their business. This is the place to go. And we have people who can help you understand how to navigate the process so that we can get back to being what we currently are, and that is the best city in the United States. Sorry, New York. But anyway.
Well, and I think that's actually, you make a really good point, because a lot of folks come to DMPED and we say, well, you should also talk to DSB, because there's a great program that we've worked on partnership on loan collateralization, in order to make sure that when folks want to make a big capital investment, that DC government will actually help you manage the risk. And DSB actually will go to the bank with you to say, we'll be there and collateralize the loan so that this business can make that big capital investment. And so Democ is critical. I know we've all mentioned, I think everyone mentioned how we're going to help create jobs, right? Democ is part of that economic vitality of the city. So Everett, you had something too?
Well, I just wanted to add, as we're talking about businesses and with all the investments that we have in infrastructure, and we have a great opportunity for our DBEs and our CBEs to partner with us at Ddot to do a lot of this work that we'll be rolling out. And so we really want to encourage our DBE programs and our CBE programs to work with our office, because we have a lot of resources and we really want to put a lot of DC government businesses, small businesses, to work.
All right, who do they reach out to? Because I know that you just got a lot of ears to perk up.
So our Chief of Inclusion and Equity is Nana Bailey Thomas, and she's at Ddot, so you can reach her at dc.dot.gov, and you'll find her name there for our Chief of Inclusion and Equity.
Great. And David, I'm going to come back to you about that question about, as kind of consumer confidence grows, what does that mean for the folks who work in the field?
Yeah, let me first kind of reflect on some of our sister agencies, in that, everyone here is improving the quality of life of DC residents. And that's going to make our city alive, continue to be alive, expand economic opportunity. So from the bike lanes to more bike infrastructure to our amenities in our public space at like Kingman Park, to more businesses in all 8 wards. What that means is, and it translates into for-hire drivers seeing additional demand for trips. And they're going to come back and they're going to look at applying online. And what we have done at our agency is expand opportunity on all of our services to go online and apply. And we have seen a dramatic increase in drivers saying, hey, now I don't have to wait in line at DFAG anymore. Now I can apply for my licenses online. And that they will be free in the next fiscal year. And so we're very excited for these investments. And we're seeing economic activity pick up. And it's exciting for me, and it's exciting for our city.
Well, and that vitality is really important that you talked about, improving the quality of life. I know we all have started to really miss the festivals that we had throughout, pre-pandemic. And so one thing that's in the budget that we haven't mentioned just yet is I think it's about $3 million in funding for our community events to have that support of city services. So in FY22, I know, Tommy, when you were a council member, you probably had a lot of well-meaning community groups who are putting on events, needing support from city agencies. So what does that mean when they know that for FY22, which October 1, September 30th, that they will have those fees waived?
Well, I think that is so important. That's part of who our city is. I mean, our city is a city of festivals. And I think of Ward 6, where I was the councilman. The 8th Street Festival is one of the best festivals in the city. And it touches on everything that everyone's talked about having pop-up businesses, trying out businesses for the first time. That's why I first met Daily Rider. They were just a booth, and now they're a DC business. And that's where we have streeteries. That's where we repurpose and think about how can we activate the public realm like these streets. 8th Street started on 2 or 3 blocks. Now it goes almost all 14 blocks, the 8th Street Festival. So it's vital for helping grow businesses, for all of us to get together and celebrate. It celebrates DC's music. Each stage along the way is a different kind of music. And we do this in not just in Ward 6. But 8th Street's one of the best examples of how we celebrate each other, how we promote our businesses, and it's a great fall festival, and it's part of what makes DC just fantastic.
And if I could add, one of the things that helped to revitalize 8th Street was our streetcar. And we're actually going to do our expansion of the streetcar, which we're really excited about in this proposed budget as well. And so that'll allow us to expand it about 1.7 miles and really be able to connect one thriving neighborhood to another thriving neighborhood. So we're really excited about that as well, and that's what you'll find in this investment.
And tell us kind of what is next and where that will...
So essentially it's just right over here to our left over Benning Road and go all the way out to Minnesota Avenue. And so, again, it'll connect one thriving road, but it connects Ward 7, which is a major investment over into Ward 7 and parts of Ward 6, and connect all the way back into Capitol Hill.
And will it have a Kingman Island stop?
We'll have to work on that, Tommy. We'll work on that.
Wait a minute.
So actually, though, I meant on the lead-in to the festivals. So there used to be festivals or a festival on the islands. Is that what's going on?
That's exactly right. That each year.
You want to make an announcement today?
I am not. We have to see guidance from our mayor, but the funding will help. Is that, yes, when I was a council member, I started the Bluegrass Festival on Kingman Island, which has, moved more and more to just celebrating the folk life that, that's in the city. But it started with about 300 people, and our last festival was 14,000 people. And it's a way to activate a space and get people out and to celebrate their city. So the Kingman Island Festival will be on next year. We had 5 stages. People don't realize that how D.C. used to be the epicenter right after World War II for bluegrass, and it's a economic driver. It helps these small bands that are new businesses to have a venue that we promote them here, and it's part of economic development, but it's a way to celebrate our city.
Right. And I think, Tommy, this is a good time, as you said, 14,000 people. Some of our watching public may not be aware that on June the 11th, which just recently passed, the mayor lifted all restrictions. So big venues, small venues, this is the time for you all to go out and for you all to start enjoying life again. Go out to these venues, go out to concerts. I'm looking forward to going back. Well, I live near the wharf, and so I'm looking forward to the anthem, having those events again that I can go in and stand and jump up and down. So we do want to encourage that it's time to get out. It's time to get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated, first of all, but and then get out and enjoy yourself.
And I'll add, we've had Step Africa on the island twice now, and sadly they missed this year. But we have a meadow over here, which is a great performing area. And so all that is coming back. And that's, again, celebrating our city. But Step Africa puts on quite an event here on Kingman Island.
Is that coming back this year?
Not yet. It depends on when that funding's available.
Probably watching. He's probably watching.
We're watching the funding.
And I know today, actually, an important step, the council is deliberating on a bill for FY21. And to try to advance some funding, most importantly, for our schools, because obviously schools start before October 1st, when our budget year starts. So, Tommy, what does that mean for us, again, as a former council member? What does that mean for us to advance this funding in 21 and have it available?
It's critical that it's available now. Our city's coming out of a pandemic, something that we've never experienced in our lifetime, that streets were quiet. So much of the businesses, like what Director Ddot was talking about, what it did to taxi drivers and small businesses, and we're starting to see the city come back to life. What Director Chopra talked about people reinvesting in their businesses and their buildings, that we're watching it come back. And there's not a better symbol than the Anacostia River. That the river was considered to be the forgotten river, a dead river, a polluted river. And with the investments of the mayor over the past 6 years and her predecessors, we're seeing the river come back to life. And what that means, that brings birds back, wildlife back. You can come here, see beavers, otters, eagles, osprey. And that's a great symbol for how important it is for the council to help support the restoration, renovation of our city, that people are ready. They want to get back to work. They want to invest in our city. They want to enjoy every part of our city. Let's not delay.
Right. And I will just say, Tommy, people want some of the things that we started in the pandemic. They want them to continue. So the streeteries, I think that we'd have a fight on our hands if we tried to get rid of that fabulous outdoor dining option. So we are looking at keeping a lot of that. We're also looking at our alcohol beverage regulation administration also, of course, allowed alcoholic beverages to be delivered with your various, I don't want to say a brand, but with your at-home delivery, of food. You can, yes, you can also have beverages delivered. So there are simply a lot of things. And David, you even said for hire, DCRA, Tommy, energy and environment, transportation, DMV, all of our agencies rolled out. They created and rolled out online services that weren't here before the pandemic. And we're going to continue those online services so that people can do whatever they need to do at home and have more time, hopefully, to spend with the family and just to enjoy this fabulous city that we live in. And so we did some great stuff that we're going to continue.
No, absolutely. So I wanted to also mention before we go, because we're coming to the end of time, some things that were not in the mayor's budget proposal. And I'm going to look to Ernest to talk about one that may be sensitive, but we really should talk about what has been proposed in terms of breaking up DCRA and what that would mean to our residents and business owners. So I'm going to turn to you for that, Ernest. But also what's not in the budget is any new taxes, fees, or mandates. And so really all that we talked about today is about creating jobs and improving quality of life for our residents. But what I don't want to see, and I know a lot of us and Mayor Bowser doesn't want to see, is us to go raise taxes or fees or create new mandates, then make it harder then to do business. All that innovation that you just talked about can be wiped away. So what I want to do, though, is turn to Ernest and just talk about, I know it's a sensitive topic, but it's been proposed to break up DCRA. What does that mean for residents and business owners as well?
With regard to the idea of splitting up DCRA, if you look at it on a more simplistic basis, it means something for a resident, it means something for a business owner. If you're a business owner, what it means is that you would have to go through layers of thick red tape just to open. If you need a permit, you now have to deal with another agency. Currently, it takes on average 255 days for a major construction permit. DCRA takes about 14 days out of that 255. So think of another 14 days at least for you as a business owner. That is holding cost. That's extra cost you don't have to shelve money out for if the agency is together. For a resident, it takes away the ability for the city to protect you. Today, if you are living in terrible housing conditions, DCRA has a housing division and also a construction and permitting division under one roof. We are able to leverage that data and hold landlords accountable. In an environment where the agency is separate, it simply comes down to more frustrations. That is why we are strongly opposed to that idea.
Well, thank you. Really helpful context for what is being debated before the council. I know that we talk about the council as our partners in government, and we won't always agree on everything. I know Tommy mentioned we haven't had a budget passed by unanimous consent. That's okay, but some of these finer points are really important because we believe that our approach actually makes it easier for residents. So thank you for taking the time to talk about that. So I'm going to look to the panel, see if they have any final thoughts before I go to Deputy Mayor Bowser. If not,
I'll just say, after listening to my colleagues, just how proud I am of the leadership that we have in Washington, D.C. We have some of the smartest, most energetic, dedicated public servants, and it is, going over our budgets are important, but also we're being entrusted with millions and millions of dollars. Well, mostly you, but I don't think you could have more integrity, more innovation than the leadership that we have. And I appreciate our deputy mayors for giving us a chance to come out and say why it's important. And I know that the council also believes in our leadership. And hopefully they will entrust us with the mission that's attached to these dollars. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Tommy. And John, thank you for allowing Democ to take over. To take over your weekly check-in and to share with the watching audience that Mayor Bowser is committed not only to this city, but to the people who come into this city, such as our tourists, our workers who do not live in the city. We are here, Democ is here to provide safe streets, to provide bus lanes, and to provide for hire, to let you do your business. I knew that was going to fly away at one point in time. But we are here to ensure that the city continues to work because, you know, our mission for Democ was going to be a city that works because we have all the directors that do the actual work that you can look out and see and touch and feel from this beautiful Kingman Island. Thank you so much, Tommy, for hosting us. Thank you all for listening to us. And on that, I turn it back over to you, John.
Well, thanks so much, Deputy Mayor. Directors, thank you very much for being with us. And to you, thank you for joining us. So I know we threw out a lot of facts and figures to you today. And if you go to budget.dc.gov, that's where you can find all the information that we talked about today. We referenced some slides. There's a lot of information up at budget.dc.gov, so make sure you check that out. And then one plug for our audience as well. On Saturday, the mayor will host another Day of Action. The Days of Action are where we go out and talk to our neighbors about the importance of being vaccinated. I talked about earlier, and Deputy Mayor Bowser alluded to it as well. We've reached that 70% mark where our adults have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine. But for many, that means they also have to get a second dose. So we're going to go out and knock on doors. So I hope that you'll join us. If you go to Mayor.dc.gov, you'll find out all the information about how you could sign up to be part of the Day of Action. So this is another way that, in addition to the Fair Shot budget, that we'll have an opportunity to reach out to our neighbors. So join us on Saturday with Mayor Bowser, and we'll actually be at the 11 a.m. kickoff at Anacostia. So if you want to sign up for shifts across the city, but Mayor Bowser will be out at Anacostia at 11 a.m. on Saturday. So with that, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Make sure you visit budget.dc.gov. Stay safe, and thanks again.